Okay, let's dive in. We often think about living longer, but what about living well into our 90s, even past 100? Really thriving?
It's a fascinating question. And today, we're looking at a place where that's, well, not exactly unusual Okinawa in Japan.
Right. And we're digging into some insights inspired by a really remarkable figure, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. Japan, the oldest practicing doctor, lived vibrantly right up to 105.
Yeah, we've been looking at this transcript about his approach, and honestly, what jumps out is the simplicity. It's not about complicated diets or some magic pill.
No, not at all. It suggests that having energy, feeling good, especially after 60, might actually hinge on simpler things. Basic foods, consistent habits.
That's really the mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To pull out the practical stuff from this material that you, listening, could potentially use. Things that might really shift how you feel day to day.
Exactly. We'll get into how much they eat, the kind of protein they focus on, some surprising daily foods.
And maybe the biggest takeaway, something that's more about a whole life philosophy than just what's on your plate. It sort of challenges a lot of the really strict health rules we see sometimes.
Okay, so let's get into the first big idea. It comes from this Okinawan wisdom, and it's about portions, but framed in a really interesting way.
Yeah, it's the concept of hara hachibu.
Hara hachibu. It just sounds wise. It basically means eating until you're about, 80% full?
That's right. Just leaving a little space, not stuffing yourself until you can't move.
Which is, let's be honest, pretty different from how many of us grew up eating, Clean your plate, get your money's worth.
Totally. It shifts the goal away from just being full to feeling comfortably nourished. It's about respect for your body, really.
So according to the source material, why is stopping at 80% so important for aging well?
Well, fundamentally, taking in moderately fewer calories just puts less overall stress on your body. Think lower inflammation, less oxidative wear and tear on your cells and organs over decades.
Right, makes sense.
And Dr. Hinohara, he really lived this. He talked about eating lightly, eating slowly. It wasn't about harsh restriction, just moderation.
And there's research that lines up with this, isn't there? Like from the National Institute on Aging.
Yeah, exactly. Studies have linked moderate, consistent caloric restriction, not drastic dieting, mind you, with longer lifespans and better metabolic health markers, better blood sugar control, things like that.
It's less about counting every single calorie and more about just not constantly overloading your digestive system.
Precisely. The material mentioned a woman, Helen, 68, grew up with that clean plate mentality, and she often felt sluggish, tired in the afternoons, didn't sleep great. Classic symptoms, really.
So what happened when she tried this harahachibu idea?
She started pausing during her meals.
Yeah.
Like actually putting the fork down and asking herself, am I still truly hungry, or am I just eating because it's here?
That takes awareness.
It does. But the result for her was more energy, sleeping better, less bloating. And the material said she found more joy at the table. I love that phrase. She was tuning into her body's signals.
It's a great reminder for you listening. If you often feel uncomfortably full, maybe just try slowing down tonight. Take a breath between bites. Check in around that point where you're satisfied but not stuffed. See how it feels.
It's a small shift, but foundational.
Okay, so that's about how much. Now, let's talk about what's on the plate, specifically protein. This is principle 2.
Right. Prioritize plant proteins.
Now, typically, especially when we talk about aging and needing to maintain muscle mass after 60, the conversation immediately goes to meat, chicken, fish.
And protein is absolutely vital, no question, especially for maintaining strength and function as we age. But the Okinawan approach, highlighted in these insights, points towards a different primary source.
You mean not animal protein?
Well, not primarily. Most of their protein actually comes from plants. Soybeans are huge.
Ah, okay. So things like tofu, miso, natto, edamame, those are mentioned as daily staples. Right?
Daily staples, not just occasional health foods. And there's a reason. They provide complete plant protein, all the essential amino acids your body needs.
Okay.
Plus, they're packed with isoflavones, which studies suggest help reduce inflammation and are good for heart health. And don't forget the prebiotic fiber food for your good gut bacteria. That gut health link is so important for aging well.
Is there solid research on the benefits of soy like this?
Oh, yeah. The material referenced a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linking regular soy intake to things like lower LDL cholesterol, that's the bad kind, better bone density, and even potentially a lower risk of cognitive decline in older adults.
Wow. And Dr. Hinohara himself was a fan?
Big time. Apparently ate tofu almost every day. He felt it helped keep his arteries clear and his digestion running smoothly.
That's quite the endorsement. We heard about Frank, 73, retired. He used to avoid soy, maybe heard some myths about it.
Yeah, there's been some misinformation out there, but he decided to try swapping out red meat for a tofu stir-fry, just twice a week. The results were noticeable. His blood pressure went down a bit, his joints felt better, and he wasn't crashing for a nap every afternoon. Just that simple swap made a difference in his energy.
So the message isn't necessarily go vegan, but maybe think about diversifying your protein, swapping in some beans, lentils, or tofu a couple of times a week.
Exactly. It's about finding a better balance that works for you. And speaking of those soy foods, some of them, like miso and natto, lead us straight into the next principle.
Yes. This one was called Japan's quietest longevity secret. Sounds intriguing.
Principle 3, embrace fermented foods.
And Dr. Hinohara started his day with miso soup. Every day. That wasn't just habit, was it?
No, he saw it as vital, like a daily dose of gut support. And it's not just miso. The Okinawan diet includes other fermented things like natto, pickles, even fermented seaweed regularly.
We hear so much about probiotics now, mostly in pill form. What makes these traditional fermented foods different, according to the source?
Where they provide live microbes, yes, but within the food itself. It's like a whole package deal. You get the probiotics, but also digestive enzymes created during fermentation, and potentially other beneficial compounds. Some argue this food matrix helps the good bacteria survive the journey through your stomach better than isolated supplements.
A kind of natural synergy.
Exactly. Plus, these foods often contain anti-inflammatory compounds that benefit more than just the gut. Think brain health, joint comfort, immune function, all crucial as we get older.
The story about Claire, the 70-year-old librarian, really drove this home for me. She had persistent bloating, irregular digestion, felt heavy, tried all sorts of things, right? Fiber, enzymes, pills.
Yeah, nothing really gave her lasting relief. But then she started just sipping warm miso broth each morning. Simple as that.
Then what happened?
Within about 2 weeks, she noticed a real shift. The bloating eased up, her energy was more stable, she felt lighter in the afternoons, her appetite felt more regulated. It seemed to be the live, food-based bacteria making the difference.
It sounds like such a gentle way to support your system. Just a spoonful of miso in warm water, or maybe adding some real, naturally fermented pickles sometimes. It's about balance, not just fixing a problem.
Right. It's about nurturing that inner ecosystem for the long haul. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's talk carbs.
The dreaded carbs. Principle 4. Choose smart carbs. Don't fear them all. This feels important because so many people, especially seniors managing weight or blood sugar, are told to avoid starch.
That's the common advice, isn't it? But the Okinawan experience flips that script. They show us that not all carbs are created equal. Some are actually foundational to their longevity.
And the big star here is the Japanese purple sweet potato.
Huge star. The material said it makes up something like over 60% of daily calories for some Okinawan centenarians. 60%.
Wow, that's a lot of sweet potato. What makes this specific kind so powerful?
Well, they're nutritional dynamos. That vibrant purple color comes from anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect your blood vessels, fight cellular aging. They're loaded with fiber, which is key for steady blood sugar and good digestion.
Okay.
Plus, they have potassium, vitamin C, essential nutrients for your heart and immune system. And critically, they have a low glycemic index.
Meaning no big sugar spikes and crashes, just steady energy?
Exactly. Sustained energy. Dr. Hinohara apparently preferred them to rice quite often. He saw them as protective.
And research backs this up too. The benefits of these anthocyanin-rich foods.
Yes, the National Institutes of Health, among others, have linked foods rich in these compounds to better blood vessel function, reduce inflammation, and even slower cognitive decline with age. It's pretty compelling.
We heard about Paul, 69. He was pre-diabetic, tired all the time, and really frustrated because he was trying so hard to avoid all carbs.
Right. And his doctor suggested he try incorporating steamed Japanese sweet potatoes. Not fried, not loaded with sugar, just simply prepared.
And the outcome?
Within a couple of weeks, he reported having more sustained energy, fewer cravings, and his blood sugar levels were more stable. It wasn't about no carbs. It was about choosing the right carbs, nutrient-dense ones.
It really highlights that discernment is key. Not fearing a whole food group, but understanding the quality within it.
Absolutely. Choose wisely, like the Okinawans.
Okay, we've covered how much, the types of protein, fermented foods, smart carbs. But this last principle, number 5, feels like it ties everything together. It's bigger than just food.
It really is. Principle 5, live a simple, joyful rhythm. This is less about a diet plan and more about a life philosophy.
Dr. Hinohara didn't seem to obsess over calories or macros, did he? It was more about a flow.
Exactly. A rhythm. The material painted the picture. His morning ritual with the miso, a walk, reading, purposeful start. Then, things like consciously avoiding overeating, not from restriction, but respect. Taking the stairs, staying incredibly curious lecturing, writing well into old age.
And he emphasized fun, didn't he? Smiling.
Yes. He famously said to stay young, you must have fun. It wasn't just about discipline. It was about joy, engagement, lightness.
That reminds me of Marie, 71. She was caught up in analyzing food labels, low-carb this, sugar-free that, and it was making her anxious.
Yeah, the stress was counterproductive. But reading about Dr. Hinohara's approach helped her shift focus. She stopped obsessing over rules and started creating a gentle rhythm.
What did that look like for her?
Simple things. A daily 20-minute walk, slowing down meals to actually taste them, making time for tea, and just breathing in the afternoon. She even started planting herbs, nurturing something.
And that shift in focus, that rhythm, made a real difference.
Profoundly, according to the material. It wasn't just physical. It improved her emotional well-being, reduced her stress. It created a sustainable flow that supported her health naturally from the inside out.
It's such a good point. Health isn't just diet charts. It's this whole symphony, emotional, mental, rhythmic.
That rhythm helps regulate stress hormones, improves sleep. It makes life feel less like a struggle.
There was a great line summarizing this principle. Don't just count protein, count quiet mornings. Don't just reduce sugar, increase laughter. Don't just fix your diet, nourish your spirit.
Beautifully put. It's about actively cultivating well-being in all parts of your life, isn't it? Not just avoiding sickness.
Okay, so let's quickly recap these 5 pillars, these gentle shifts inspired by Okinawan wisdom and Dr. Hinohara, especially relevant for those of us navigating life after 60.
All right. First, harahachibu, eat until you're about 80% full. Second, prioritize plant-based proteins like soy more often.
Third, embrace fermented foods like miso for gut health. Fourth, choose smart carbs like those amazing purple sweet potatoes.
And fifth, cultivate that simple, joyful rhythm movement, curiosity, connection, laughter, just finding flow in your day.
Taken together, these simple habits support your heart, brain, digestion, energy. They really contribute to maintaining independence and just enjoying life more as you age.
And the best part is, you don't need to tackle all 5 at once. Just pick one. Which one resonates most with you right now? Maybe it's trying miso. Maybe it's that 80% full idea.
Yeah, thinking about your own energy or digestion. What's one small step that feels doable, that feels like it could make a positive difference today?
Because it really is those small, steady steps that build up over time. Consistency is key.
So the big takeaway here seems to be longevity doesn't require some perfect, complex, punishing plan. It's about these gentle, consistent habits. Steaming a sweet potato, pausing during lunch, finding moments of quiet or joy. It all adds up.
Mm-hmm. And remember, it's not just about stretching out the years in your life.
Right. It's about packing more life, more vitality, more joy into those years.
Exactly. Adding life to your years.
Building on that thought. Maybe something for you to ponder. What's one small, simple thing you could add to your day today, totally separate from food that just genuinely nourishes your spirit?
Could be anything. 5 minutes with music, stepping outside, a quick call to a friend, just something purely for joy or peace.
And looking ahead, that material we reviewed dropped a little teaser. It mentioned a popular health food that might actually be making some seniors feel older, not younger.
Ooh, that sounds like a mystery. Definitely something we need to dig into for a future deep dive.
Absolutely. But for now, perhaps just focusing on these gentle Okinawan-inspired steps is a great place to start.